All right. So welcome to today's bridge training session. My name is Rebecca Blackburn Hines. I'm a special grants program manager with the South Carolina Small Business Development Centers. And today's webinar is a product of our Bridge program. The Bridge stands for Better Resources for Inclusion, Dialogue, Growth, and Equity. And today's session is marketing your business with one of our Hispanic business consultants, Marco Rios. And a little bit of background about our Bridge program. The Bridge is a collaboration with the SC, SBDC, the South Carolina Commission on Minority Affairs, South Carolina's Historically Black Colleges and Universities, lenders, other partners, to improve upon the economic impact of African American businesses and entrepreneurs in South Carolina. Our Bridge program has several different components, and today's training session is one part of a bigger piece of that pie. As you will see on this slide, we offer customized one-on-one no-cost consulting to small business owners. That is our core program. We do that in our core program, and this is just a more targeted approach to reach those underserved communities in our state. Another portion of this, of the Bridge, is a virtual student support center. We have student interns that are currently enrolled at various HBCUs throughout South Carolina. We have a podcast series that recently launched. You can actually find the most recent episodes of our podcast, the Bridge podcast, on our website, www.scsbdc.com/bridge. We are also getting that up and running, hopefully here in the next day or so, on Apple Podcasts, and you'll be able to find it wherever you find your podcasts. And then also the final component is our specialized educational programs, which is training sessions just like the one that you are seeing today. So we thank you for joining us. I am going to stop sharing my screen so that Marco can share his screen, and then he will take it from there, and you will learn all about marketing your business. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you, Rebecca. Let me start sharing here.
Oh, I will say before we get started, if you have any questions today, please type them in your chat box. We will be monitoring that on our end, and we will ask Marco any questions that you may have when it is appropriate. All right, and we will also open it up for questions at the end.
Here. Do you see my screen?
There you go. I do.
Okay, perfect.
Thank you.
Well, thank you, Rebecca, for everything. Thank you, Sarah, for helping us. As Rebecca says, I'm going to talk about the marketing analysis, more about how you can brand and do the marketing for your business. First, I want to introduce myself. And first, also, I want to apologize. English is not my first language. I speak Spanish as a first language. I speak also some Italian. I'm working on my English. So please, if you don't understand something, you feel free to ask at the end or on the chat box, and I will do my best at the end. So, well, my name is Marco. I'm the Hispanic business consultant. I joined the SBDC since last February, and because the effort of the SBDC in South Carolina is to reach more the minorities and help more the Hispanic community, the African American community, and those minorities, because sometimes it's more difficult for us to try to start a business or grow our business. My background is I have a bachelor's degree in business administration, also in a master's degree in marketing and management, and one master's degree in international issues. I have 12 years experience as a sales director and a country manager in USA, Mexico, and the Caribbean. Okay, I forgot to translate this, But my main goal here is to help the majority, uh, the most, the majority of the business, not just for Hispanic, also for minorities and all the people that wants to start a business in the in the state. I have my experience is more in tourism, food and beverage, coaching technology companies, and doing some. I have some entrepreneurs that I did in Mexico and some ones that I'm working on right now. Well, I always like to start all my presentations with these slides because it's maybe sometimes you will feel very excited doing the business and sometimes you will feel sad. So this is a regular life in an entrepreneur. At the beginning, you will start being very excited about your business, your idea, you have all that passion, but then you will face some troubles and you will say, okay, this is hard. You will feel like you are climbing a hill. So, but after that effort, you will say, yeah, okay, it is working. You will be happy again and then sad again, but you keep working on your business and then you will say, okay, this is great. But then another obstacles you will face and you will say, okay, I'm broke, or maybe you will face trouble with some cash flow or stuff like that. Usually here is when the entrepreneurs give up because some that's why I always say you have to do something that you really love, because if you focus just on the money, when those problems arrive, you won't feel that passion or that motivation that you will need. But if you pass that, you will say, okay, I'm doing great. Then you will face another troubles, maybe with employees or something like that. And you will say, okay, I was wrong. And it comes, if you do a sum out, you will see this going on and going on. You will face happiness and you will face sadness, but you have to keep going. It's hard, but it's a very good uh, thing to do to start your business. So the thing that I want to say here is persistency always pays. So you have to be persistent and keep working, keep working, keep working. Well, with that said, I want to say what's the difference between sales and marketing. Usually a lot of people use these terms as synonyms, and it's not. Sales and marketing are different. Marketing is to communicate a value to your customers, understanding their needs, their desires, and their fears and frustration. The key here is that you have to convince. The marketing goal is to convince and persuade the prospect. And the sales is everything you do to actually close a deal or end up with a signed contract, is the things that you do to close. Marketing would say is some you have to bring your clients to you and then you have to close them. You need both to truly lead your business to the success. So it's something, sorry. Okay. Both are very important for your business. So for example, if you are in a high value or high price business or business that deals with that sensitive information, well, in this case, the sales focus approach is going to be better for you. Focus more on close the deal, close the deal. Usually these kinds of, when you sell business to business, your strategy will be more focused on sales. But in the other hand, if you are in a lower value product or lower price business, here is simply not realistic for a salesperson get to the phone every day or try to do email marketing and stuff like that. So in that case, this is for this in these examples is more convincing if you do the marketing approach. This will be more for the B2C the clients. But what is marketing? If you see on internet, a marketing has a lot of definition. The one that I really like most and is more easy for me to understand is marketing is the process of communicating value to your customer, understanding their needs, desires, fears, and frustrations to build a bond with them. Now you have to create a bond with your clients, not just sell and sell and sell, because if you do that, the remember, for example, when you try to buy something, if somebody is calling you, the insurance do that, is start to create a frustration, and you sometimes get mad. So you have to create a bond. You have to create value to your clients. Usually, if you create value, they will find you, they will look for you, and that's the things that you have to do. Create value for them, not just find them to sell something. So in short words, it's what helps you to understand and create the bond with your target. You have to know them, as you have to do some research or to understand where are they, what they are looking for. So now marketing and advertising is the same. Well, the answer is no, it's not the same. Advertising is a tool of the marketing strategy. The marketing strategy is an organization ability to implement a successful strategy that depends on using the right tools and tactics to achieve that. These tools, we can see, here's the marketing strategy. Usually you have 4 P's for the marketing strategy: price, place, product, and promotion. And around you can see some of the tools that you can use. Marketing strategy is one of the 3 pillars for the successful of your business. The first one is the product and the service that you are providing. The second one is the financial projections. You have to know the numbers, how much you will earn for each sales, how much you have to sell to be to have the break even, and also the marketing plan, how you're gonna sell, how you're gonna attract your clients. So remember that we need to get the right people at the right time, at the right place. You don't need everybody to buy. Some clients that comes to the office says, yeah, my product, everybody will buy my product. It's not true. You have to define your target, your segment, your niche to know, because if not, this will, why is that? Because at the end, you will do some investment in marketing. So if you define your target market, it's smarter if you try to reach those advertising or those campaigns to 5 people, and then convert those 5 leads into a client. Maybe you convert one of those 5, so you will convert 20% of your leads. But if you try to reach a million and you just convert one, so that's the conversion rate will be lower, and you will spend a lot of money on your campaign. So here you can see tools as advertising and promotions, your website. Right now you have to be online. If you are not online, you doesn't exist. So that's why it's important for every business to be online, because clients will look for you. Remember, when you are trying to buy something, shoes or anything, you go to Google and look for um, that kind of companies that will provide your need. And I'm sure that you usually don't go more than further than the 3rd page or 4th page. Usually you go to the first one or the second one. So also you have to do the media planning. With the media planning is a strategic planning of your campaigns and actions to attract customers. An example of media planning will be magazines, Facebook, TV or radio, or Instagram. Where you're gonna do that, it depends on where is your target, your market. Where it doesn't make sense if your clients usually see more magazines or Facebook. It doesn't make sense to do your media planning on YouTube or radio. The next one will be the public relations and networking. You have a lot of people think that they have to do everything alone, but that's not true. You have to create a network with the suppliers, or maybe another business that do the same. Maybe not the same to you, or maybe a complement to you. Sometimes, for example, coffee. If you sell coffee, maybe you have to do an agreement with somebody that sells milk or sells tea. So you have to create those relationships. Also, very important is your price strategy. You have to know how much you will earn for each product that you sell and all that. So you have to be very careful with those numbers. There are some business that the markup is very low. So if you gave $1 discounts, you will lose money. So you have to be very conscious about this. And of course, the image and the packing. You can see if you go to Walmart that there is a lot of brands and a lot of types of cereals or coffees or sodas. So the image and the packing is something very important because that's the first thing that your possible clients will look from you or your business. So as you can see, branding is a complement of marketing. And well, marketing looks to bring the product or service closer to the customers in order to generate the sales. And the branding is looks to generate the connections and brand value with the customers, which at the end will helps you with the sales. So there is another thing that you have to be conscious here is the branding, that the position that you have. For example, marketing will be the things that you are doing to promote you, to reach your clients, and branding is more what the people think about you. That's how you create your brand identity. So how you do that? Well, you have to identify your market. It's important to know if you fail properly identifying your target market, then none of your marketing effort will work, period. You have to know who is going to buy from you. If you said, yeah, everybody will like my product, I'm sure that that's not true. You have to find the people that really wants or really needs what you are offering. It doesn't matter if it's a product or if it's a service. That's why you need to know the industry, your market, and your customers inside out. Now, how to identify your market? There is says that is ideal customer avatar. You have to create like an avatar that represents your ideal customer, that person that you will love to be your client, and that person that will love to be that you are your provider. So having also they call them a buyer persona. That buyer persona, as I said, is a fictional representation of you, your most perfect and ideal customer. So you have to know your buyer persona. You have to know in which segment is your clients, the needs that they have, the trends that they like, how are they growing. Maybe for example, there are some countries that they have trouble because the population is getting old. So if you are selling maybe something more like a skateboard or something like that, maybe that market of that country is not a good idea. And also you have to know your competitors. Why? Because never follow. Some people think that, okay, if they are doing this, I have to do the same thing. Not do the same thing, but you have to realize what are they doing good, what are they doing bad, and try to create your own strategy. So with this is an example that I want to provide you to how to create a buyer persona. As I said, you have to know your industry. You have to be an expert of that industry. So let's say, for example, that you are selling, you are part of a, what's the important things about the buyer persona? You have to do all the segmentations. Should be demographic. It means like age, gender, education, income, marital status. Also geographic, that it means where will be located. Nowadays, a lot of people are selling online. Even though you are selling online, you have to know where are they buying, who is that client, because maybe you are selling in New York or LA, but you have to know what are that kind of clients. Should be kind of the same. So maybe the geographic won't be a specific location, but with the online, you can say you will sell them on Amazon. You will sell to them by your own personal, your own website. Also, you have to identify the desires and aspirations. For example, let's say that you are a yoga instructor, and I have an example. For example, let's suppose that you are working on a gym, but because all these things that happen with the COVID-19, the gym closed, and you are a yoga trainer. So you decide to you will broadcast and upload to YouTube your classes, and you will sell them. But you realize that there's a lot of people doing the same thing because all the world gets stopped. So a lot of uh, yoga instructors do the same. So you realize that you didn't get a lot of people. So you start to think, okay, maybe Marco is right. And you discover that you want to work with young women or young moms who wants to regain flexibility and feel better about their body. Okay, now you have somebody, and let's call that person Jennifer. Jennifer is a woman that has between 30 and 40 years old. Okay, she's female. She has at least a bachelor degree, and their income is at least 50K per year, and she's married. You can say, okay, she has 1, 2, 3 kids. Well, in this case, you will say that she really likes to be on YouTube. In this case, because we are doing that online, the geographic doesn't brings that information, but you have to know the psychographic. That means the interests and affiliations that she's working on. For example, maybe she like healthy food and organic food, and she goes to places like Whole Foods or places that sells that kind of food. Okay, maybe if you want to do something with a magazine or something, maybe you have to find some magazines that deliver it there or sells in those kinds of places. You have to identify, oh, sorry. You have to identify those groups that she's on. Maybe she's in a PTA or parents group of the school. And as I said, YouTube, she follows YouTube channels about healthy food or tips for moms. Or maybe she has a membership at Costco or Sam's Club or a golf club. On the psychographic, you have also to identify the problems, the problems that she's facing. Maybe she has lost flexibility. She no longer feels comfortable with her body. She's afraid to go back to the gym since she hasn't been there for a long time. Sometimes when you don't go to the gym, you start to say, I don't want to go because I lost a lot of uh, I'm not in shape or stuff like that. So maybe those are the things that Jennifer feels about. That's some of the problems that she's facing. She doesn't have the time to do the exercise because she's working or she has to go for the kids. So all those hard work that she's doing at home also. So, or maybe she does not feel comfortable going to the gym and she doesn't like to be with a lot of people, or more, she's scared to get COVID. So those kind of things. Okay. With this information, you can create a campaign about that. You can say something, okay, you want to get in shape, gain flexibility again, but you don't want to deal with the people around you. Okay, come and join to my YouTube channel or something like that. Because in this case, you can be more specific. Why? Because you know her, you know more your client. You know, in this case, Jennifer. Jennifer will represent most of your possible clients. Also, it's important to know the desires, the aspirations that she wants. For example, in this case, Jennifer wants to feel healthier. She wants to look good on the evening dress to go on a date with her husband, or she wants to have more energy because a lot of people think, no, I don't have energy to go to the gym, but you realize that when you go, you start to feel more active. And as I said, regain flexibility. As we can see, flexibility was something very important here. So maybe that will be one of the keywords that we have to maybe buy on Google Ads or stuff like that. This is the importance to know your clients. We can go deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper, but this is an example of how you have to work or deal with your customer, uh, ideal customer avatar or buyer persona. So going more here, where your sales come from. Well, maybe a lot of you have heard about the funnel sales. The funnel cells, once you know your ideal customer avatar, you must to identify what's your funnel cell, how you sell, because a lot of people doesn't know where the clients come from. They are just happy when they come, but you have to know where. Usually the funnel cells have 4 stages. You can find 6, 7. This one is more the that covers most of the things. For example, if you had 100 prospects, the 100 prospects will be on the awareness. Only 6 or 60% of the persons will pass to the awareness stage, or it was how many prospect results in one contact. In this case, is the results of your marketing efforts. You can do something branding or some magazine, some Google ads or stuff like that. And okay, that's how the people see your ad or your page or your website. But just say 60% of those will do something to contact you. An example as this stage will be a prospect learning about your company for the first time. Perhaps they click on one of your ads, or maybe you are creating articles on your blog, and maybe this person read your blog and then click on your site or find you a website from Google. So that's the first step. They go and see what are you offering to him. Maybe they feel interest or not. If they don't feel interest, so they go away. So 20 persons or 30% of those 60 persons will create or will have an interest. Once the prospect have learned about your brand, they will evaluate based on their interest level. Maybe they are not interested, maybe they were just looking around on Facebook or something like that. They will think about the problem that they are trying to sell, and they conduct a competitive research. Maybe he will look for your product, maybe in this case, following the same example of your product as a yoga teacher, and this person will find another options. You already create the interest, that's good. So after that, some decisions and questions. Sorry, here I made a mistake. Here wasn't 60, was 10, but 50% of those will be 10 persons that wants to pass to the decision option, because this decision stage, sorry. And on the decision stage, they will start to look more in deep information, not just maybe at the beginning he was doing a research about you and other 4 possible providers, but now maybe they have just you and another option. So they will be okay doing all that research and have to decide. And after that, you will have one action. Maybe of all that 100 persons, you will have one buyer. That's the norm. Usually you convert 1% of your leads. If you are doing less than that, maybe we have to do something to fix something that we are not doing good. And if you are doing more than that, you are doing good things. So keep doing that. So the purchasing decision is very kind of similar, but these ones have 5 stage normally. You also you can find more or less on Google, but nowadays this process is basically the same for most of the customers. First is the need recognition and the problem awareness. Here is identify the concerns of your target market that must be addressed. As I mentioned before, you have to know them and know what are the problems and their needs. So with that in mind, you have to pass to the information search. You have to know what, where, and which kind of product do they need? Maybe let's assume that they need a phone. Okay, what kind of phone they need? Maybe something with some apps. Maybe they are doing that for work. Maybe they are doing that on a cell phone for gaming. So you have to identify what are they looking for, and where. Maybe they want to buy it online, or maybe on a lot of people that buy a phone, they prefer to touch the phone before buying it. And then which, maybe they will decide, okay, I want to do iPhone, or maybe I want to do the Samsung. So that's the important thing that you have to research. Usually people get information through internet, as I mentioned. So you have to know also them. You have to evaluate the competitors, in this case, the alternative, because the client will evaluate the alternative, as I said before. Okay, why iPhone or why Samsung? So you have to know what are the things that they consider more important for them. And the purchase phase, that is, okay, now sometimes people buy things for two reasons: for a rational emotion, or for rational thing, or for emotional things. A lot of people think, okay, I want to buy this cell phone because I just need for doing blogging, or doing cameras, or doing gaming. So they are more rational, but a lot of people are more emotional. Somebody that do this very well is a iPhone creates that emotion, that connection with your clients. Also, Coca-Cola focus more on the emotions, the happiness. So they say that they don't sell you Coca-Cola, they sell you happiness. So those are good things that you have to know why the people, or why the possible clients will buy from you. And after that, a lot of clients say, okay, they already buy me and that's it. No, you have to go further than the funnel cell. The funnel cells will be here, the first 4 stages that we see before, but then you have to add one, the post-purchase evaluation. You have to know if they are happy with your product or they are unhappy with your product. One person that is happy with your product will recommend you with 1 or maybe 2 more people. But one person that is very mad with your brand or your product will say bad things about your company at least to 10 more persons. So you have to have an actions that you have to do. If somebody is upset about your product, you have to solve that problem to them. So it's important to go further than just selling. Okay, the competitions and the value propositions. Okay, as I mentioned, it's important to know the competitions. You will have 3 kinds of competitors. The direct one, for example, Coca-Cola, the direct competitor is Pepsi. The indirect is somebody that sells something that is not your same product, but will be something that could be a substitution. A good example of this is if you sell coffee, a good, an indirect competitor will be a Tivana, somebody that sells tea. It's not a coffee, but these people usually, if they don't, the people that usually drinks coffee can substitute the coffee with a tea because the caffeine and health and all those stuff. So it's important to know what kind of indirect competitors do you have in your market. And future competitors, you have to be, now with the technology and all that, you have to be careful with the future competitors. A good example of this is Blockbuster. Blockbuster didn't care about Netflix when they started, and now they went to bankruptcy because they didn't see the possible future competitors. They get stuck. So that's the importance of this, to evaluate your competitors. So first, in this case, when you already know your competitors, you have to know what makes you different from all the competitors that you have around. maybe you will have better prices and lower prices, or maybe you will your strategy will be a luxury brand, or maybe your warranties is the better in the market, or the quality of your product, or maybe the customer service. That's why it's important that this to define which strategy are you going to do. I never recommend to go to be the lower price, because sometimes you will enter to a war about prices, and you will at the end will be hard to succeed in that kind of market. But maybe in cases that you have an exclusive deal with somebody that will give you that competitive advantage on price, will be a good idea, but most of the time it's not a good idea. I want to put some examples here. For example, the kind of the what difference has each brand against the competitors. For example, Nike focus more on the technology, on good prices. They do a good branding, but they start to focus more on the technology. They started that with the Jordan Air and all those to help the athletes. So Puma, once a long time before, they tried to do the same thing, but they say, no, I will compete with Nike, I will compete with Adidas, and they have more budget than me, so I will focus on the design and fashion. In fact, Puma right now in Latin America, they are doing great job, because now they are focusing more on the rap, freestyle, influencers that does rap and all that. So they start to focus more on the design and the fashion. They also have something about the sport, but right now they focus more on the design and fashion. That's why they start to hire more influencers in these segments more than the sports. I don't know if you're familiar with Rappi. Rappi is a big competitor of Uber Eats in Latin America, because they focus on customer service. For example, in Mexico, if you want to buy tickets, maybe if you want to buy tickets from NFL, but you have to be online for 12 hours. In Mexico, you have the option that somebody does you a favor and they charge you per hour. So you don't have to, they will buy the tickets for you and you don't have to be online 12 hours. So that was a very big success, because nobody was doing that at that moment in Mexico and Colombia. So they grow a lot. In fact, in Mexico, Rappi is bigger than Uber Eats. The thing with Uber Eats, they focus more in innovation and the service. In fact, it's easier to use Uber Eats than Rappi, because Rappi has some sorry, technology difficulties, but they focus in different, they have different strategies. And the most, sorry, here the spelling too, but Apple and Samsung. Apple was focused more on disruptive innovation. They were the first one that create thanks to them, we have the app stores and all that. And the status, Apple now is more focused like kind of in the luxury and the brand, because they are related to quality. Even though Samsung has also a very good products, they know that they can do that, because the people think that the quality is just for Apple. So they focus more on the camera and the freedom, because you can access to more apps than Apple. So that's that's the important thing, to focus on what are you important in your market. And also, you have to define if you have a competitive advantage. Maybe you have a patent. When you have a patent, you have a very competitive advantage, because depending on the industry, you will have some years that you will be the only one having that product. Maybe you have unmatched quality. Maybe you have an agreement with an exclusive provider of maybe diamonds or something like that. So, okay, you will have an unmatched quality because you have an exclusive contract. Maybe geographic, maybe you are located in a very strategic place that is something that, for example, McDonald's does. They buy the real estate in very unique places where the flow of the people are very high. Is very related with the location, delivery time. Maybe you have a faster delivery time, like once long time ago, Domino's Pizza did that. So a competitive advantage is, for example, Amazon Prime. Amazon Prime is the delivery at the next day. If not, it's free. So you can, if you don't get your product at the next day, you can call them and they will reimburse your buying. And if you, after that, you receive the product, you can keep that. And also Cirque du Soleil. Well, now Cirque du Soleil is facing big troubles with the COVID, but they create a new market mixing the theater and the circus. So the circus is a very competitive, was a very competitive market. So they bring they made a fusion between the theater and the circus, and they create a completely new market without competence. So that's the kind of things that will help you with your business. Okay, I have time. Okay. Competitive strategies. This is easy. You have to, as I mentioned before, pricing. You will face pricing, maybe a lower price strategy. I don't recommend that. Also, a high pricing strategy is good. Some brands like Gucci do a high cost product, even though the quality is not related to the cost. Just because people see that it's more expensive than the competence, they want to buy that one just because the price. So also high cost or high pricing strategy will be a good strategy for your business, but you have to do very good branding on that, because if not, you will fail, because the people will say, okay, no, it's too expensive for what I get. Maybe you get the first in the market, as Uber Eats did. Maybe you will center on your brand, as Apple did. The brand, we're exclusive, we are more quality and all that. The luxury items that I mentioned before, or the warranties that I mentioned as Amazon does. Marketplace potential. Okay, you have to know what's your market size. Maybe you have a very good product, but maybe in the place that you want to sell it, there is not enough market. Maybe you will buy 1,000 pieces each month, but you have to sell at least 2,000. But if the market size is not correct, it doesn't matter if you do a great branding, because the market is too small for what you need. So maybe you have to reach another markets bigger. You have to keep in mind and find all those trends on your market, the maturity of your markets, the sales potential. This is very related with the first one. And technology impact, maybe if there is something that is in the technology aspect. And entry points. This one is very important because, for example, if you want to start a business on during COVID, wasn't a good idea, because why? Because nobody's in the entry points will be a good option in that because all the factors that are around. Maybe you will have some barriers to entry, as I mentioned. Maybe something legal, maybe something that protects the market, or patents. Maybe you will have a patents, or maybe your competitors will have a patent. So you will have barriers like legal or technical, or maybe a strategy. Some brands enter to a market with low price, even lower than the cost, but the things that they want to is that the people know the product. So if somebody is already selling below the cost, is because that's the strategy. So you decide if you want to enter to that strategy or wait a little bit for that. So understanding the market, understanding marketing potential will decrease surprisingly the marketing and the sales results. So you have to keep in mind of this. Now we're gonna talk a little bit about the niche. Sometimes people confuse the segment and the niche with the market. So the niche is very specific target market. It's very, very specific. You have the the market, the segment, and the niche. That will have maybe a limited number of potential customers and with unique needs and needs not being adequately met by other providers. So a niche in short words is an unattended, underserved part of a large group of consumers. Niche is not the same as a segment, a market segment. Here is a fast example that I did. A market could be a fast food, is the big one, the big picture. A segment will be just burgers, fast foods that sells burgers. A niche will be veggie burgers or vegetarian burgers or vegan burgers. That's very specific target. Sometimes when you focus on a specific market as entrepreneur will be easier because usually, I don't know, how many fast food brands do you know? I'm sure that you know more than 20. How many do you know that sells burgers? Maybe you know 10, but I'm sure that you may know just one or two or maybe none brand or companies that sells vegetarian burgers. So that could be a good market to start. Where do the prospects come from? Usually comes from warm or natural markets. Natural markets is markets that it's people that you already know and that is the common ground on your regular life. Referrals will be people that hear from another persons about your company, or maybe to maybe an influencer. Cold calls, you can do that. I really don't recommend that. At the beginning, maybe in 20, 30 years ago, was very successful. Right now, and a lot of some companies still does that, like insurance, but I don't know. I already that I received those kind of calls, I block them because it really makes me mad. You can get the prospect from social media, associations, networks, chambers, a lot of institutions that helps the entrepreneurs, and centers of influence, people who knows who you need to know. Sometimes, for example, maybe for example, when you're applying for a loans and those kinds of services, maybe we can refer with some of the people that have helped some of our clients and stuff like that. So you have to, that's why it's very important your networking. Okay, I'm almost finished. Generating leads. Lead generation is the process of generating consumer interest for a product or service with the goal of nurturing that interest in your sales. You can do the duplication. Well, duplication is the key of increase the sales. You have to duplicate your clients. You can do social buzz. If it's new, I want one or something like that. But you can refocus also your target market or geography. Sometimes you maybe you start with your buyer persona, but you realize that your effort is not doing good. So maybe you have to adapt to see if your buyer persona is correct, or adapt, or maybe your target, your medium strategy is not doing well. You have to look further the pipeline. Maybe if you do see, maybe you get all the clients through the 3 stages, but at the end they don't buy from you. They buy from the business in the front. You have to realize why. Maybe the price, maybe the service, maybe the quality. So maybe you do some adjustment there. You will start to converting more clients. And the comparative lead sharing, as I mentioned before. So how you can generate leads, identify events you need to attend. For example, for the Hispanic business right now, yesterday started the Hispanic Heritage Month. So there are a lot of events that they are doing to promote the local business. So those events are very important to attend in your community or your state or your local community. You can go to expos, conference. You can do volunteer speaking or engagement. Maybe if you, maybe following this yoga example, maybe you can do volunteer speaking about the importance of having doing yoga for your health, for your mind. Ongoing sales campaign, we can create a marketing strategy with you. In SBDC, we can help you with all that. And select the channels and media, as I mentioned before. We have, you have to do market research. These are some places where you can do, and remember, your SBDC consultant can help you with all these. We have a lot of resources that will be helpful for doing more of the research that you need to know about your market or your competitors, or also use your same product. Well, with this, I already finished. This is all my contact information if you need me. And we have time for some questions. And remember, dream big, because we can help you.
All right. Thank you, Marco. That was fantastic. If anyone has any questions for Marco, you can type them in the chat, and I'll give that a couple minutes. And a little bit of wrap up. We appreciate Marco for giving this presentation. There was a lot of information. We will be sending out the presentation via email to all registrants for this session, so you will get that. And also we would love to help you. We would love your participation in our bridge program. You can register to meet with a consultant and learn more about this program at www.scSBDC.com/bridge, and you can also access our podcast episodes there. I do see a question in the chat. Can you show that last slide again on market research tools, please?
Done. Do you see?
All right. It looks like there is some information that you can get from there. All right. Here we have another question, Marco, if you don't mind. All right. Ms. Pella Johnson has asked, how do you research the market before entering it? And do I just look for competitors to start?
Okay, that's a good question. Thank you, Tella. It depends on the industry, but yeah, you have to go from something, the macro, and goes to the micro. Maybe, let's say, one example, maybe you want to sell, okay. Maybe you want to sell, okay, I have troubles with that. And I don't want to use something that I already use it. Okay, maybe watch. Let's say you want to sell some watch, no smart one, the regular ones. Okay, you have to.
She said beard products.
Okay, perfect. Beard is beer.
Beard.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay. Sorry for that. Okay, yeah, you can start to look at how many barber shops are in the. You have to know where you want to sell them. Maybe you said, okay, Colombia. Let's say Colombia. Okay, for your video marketing video. Okay, fine. Okay.
Hold on, and I'll read. There's a couple of questions that were before hers too. So
and you will to say a good option is how many barber shops are in the area that you want to sell. That will be the first step for me. Also, I will do something on census. Maybe I haven't looked for that kind of business yet, but I am sure that there will be some information on census.gov about barbershops and those kind of business. And if you realize, okay, there are, I don't know, 20 barbershops in 50 miles around, okay, you want to say maybe, for example, Hispanic people doesn't really buy stuff like to comb your mustache and all that. If you are if the barber shops are more Hispanic business, maybe that's not a good idea. We take care more about our hair, but maybe not the mustache and all that. So you have to find what kind of business are that, the target market of those business. Why? Because at the end, you can sell this product to the final customer, B2C, but in that, when you sell to the final clients, you will have a higher markup, but you will reach more people if you sell to those barber shops. So I will do that. First, look what kind of business that can be your clients, around, not just the final clients, also the business that can buy you from. And look, census is a good place to start.
Right. And also you do have on your slide a really great resource. I just want to reiterate to tell her that when you work with a consultant, we have several tools like IDIS World and Vertical IQ that can kind of help with that market research aspect. So definitely reach out to one of our consultants like Marco, and we can use those tools and help you. We do have another question from Courtney. What advice can you give to someone who is looking to change their target audience to more of an upscale audience?
Upscale, you mean more income person, like a high quality?
Right, like a higher quality. I take upscale to, if you're talking about a certain type of restaurant where you have an everyday restaurant, and then you have more of an upscale fancy restaurant for an anniversary. That might be a good
Start
comparison.
to, yeah, thanks, Rebecca. Yeah, start to know what they like. For example, maybe those made an example. Maybe if you want to do, have you realized that you never see a Rolex ad on football games or soccer games? Why? It's because usually the target market of Rolex is not watching soccer, is watching golf, is watching tennis games. So that's important thing of your buyer persona. Realize, okay, you want to sell to this kind of person, maybe a businessman, businesswoman that has a 200K income per year. Okay, realize what they want. Usually these kind of people, you have to do a deeper research, but have a membership on a country club. So, okay, maybe they go there. So maybe you have to reach those country clubs, or maybe they don't spend too much time on Facebook. They spend more time on LinkedIn doing relationships with other clients. Okay, so maybe you can do an ad on those these platforms, because if you do that on TikTok, I'm sure that you don't get those kind of clients. So have to know more that where are they that kind of clients. The most important thing, and the thing that a lot of people doesn't do usually, ask them, try to go to the places that they go and start to ask people. When you start, hey, I am trying to start a business and I want to do, what do you think about this? And do that. Don't do that on restaurants where they are doing something very personal, but you ask the people. Or you can create a campaign maybe on Facebook, LinkedIn. Okay, what if you what product was this one, consultant or well, let's assume that
I think that question may be asking a little bit about if you need to refine your audience persona. Do you have any tips for that?
to refine your buyer persona.
Your
Okay,
audience?
yeah. First, I don't want to be very repetitive in this. I want to try to explain in another way. But okay, your buyer persona will you will start your buyer persona in two ways. One is because your personal knowledge, because you see where is the target, but you have to invest maybe in a research, or maybe just asking questions directly to that kind of person that you want to sell. I want to sell to person. The first thing here is the income. I am assuming that will be the income, okay, because maybe you are selling a high price product. So, okay, they maybe have to earn at least $100,000, because they will give you like $1,000 to invest in you. So after you realize how many people how much these kind of people will how much these people are earning, the income, okay, you can research some census. Okay, how many people usually, well, I haven't seen that information yet, but how many of the populations earn more than that amount of money? And sometimes there are some researchers that say, where is the people that has that kind of income? And then start to doing all that, like it's like a background engineering. I don't know if that helps with the answer.
All right. Well, and I will say, just for everyone to know, after we complete today's session, there will be a survey going out, and there's some feedback that you can give on that survey. And if you have specific questions, just let us know, and we can have a consultant reach out and address issues that are more specific to your individual business. We would love to work with you and help you work with that. Sometimes it's a little bit easier to do that one-on-one when we're talking about a specific business. And that is what we are here to do. So I think that is all of the questions that you are very welcome. I think that is all of the questions that we have in the chat. Marco, thank you so much for taking the time this morning on a Friday to walk us through marketing your business. I appreciate that. And to everyone that joined us today, we had a great crowd. Thank you very much. Thank you for your questions at the end. They were very, very great questions. So we appreciate that. We will send out the slides, and the recording will be posted online, and you will be able to access today's recording after it is downloaded and uploaded onto our website and to email. So thank you so much. I hope everyone has a wonderful day. And if we can do anything for you here at the SBDC, we would love to help. You can sign up at our website, www.scsbdc.com/bridge, and that will take you to our bridge program. So thank you. And yes, you will be able to get a copy of the recording. Yes, ma'am. All right. Have a wonderful day, everyone, and have a great weekend. Thank you.